All right, welcome back here to Guardian Games, Monday Modern. We're starting round number 2. I'm Travis Cooper with Portland Paper, hanging out with,
Guest host Steven Sun.
and yeah, how do you feel about looking in the mirror?
Grixis Death Shadow. I think this is going to be super interesting and probably super fun to watch.
Do you feel like one deck is favored over the other deck?
You know what? I think Grixis Death Shadow is probably favored over Grixis Death Shadow.
So we have two very regular players here at Guardian. I know Alec has been playing Death Shadow, Grixis Shadow since it came out, basically, that first event in Vancouver, maybe a couple years ago, where it put a bunch of lists in the top 32.
Yeah, I think he was one of them, right? Or was that in GP Portland?
He's had some pretty good results at GPs. I don't think Alec has top 8'd, but has come very close.
Yeah.
And both players kept their 7 and led with the same fetch land.
Alec showing us his hand. I saw a Fatal Push. That was the only card I saw.
Yeah, so there was a really interesting line that I saw some people taking recently at some high-level modern events where if you were in the Grixis Shadow Mirror, you would choose to be on the draw
I've heard that.
because all your cards are basically one-for-oneing. There's very few two-for-ones. Kolaghan's Command is like maybe a one of in the sideboard now, usually not in the main deck, along with Planeswalkers. And so you just want to have that actual extra card, and that can sometimes be what it takes to win the matchup.
Yeah, it's not, very common to be on the draw in many matchups, but over the last year, I would say there's been conversations about when is it right to actually be on the draw.
Yeah, and I think it is important to assess when that situation is, which is not often, but sometimes that is the case. And so we get Jeremy with the Thought Scour, we get a cycle Street Wraith here, and found the land. Maybe that's what they were looking for. And it looks like chat's asking, I think, if Alec moved back, and the answer is Alec is in town now, and has mentioned to us that he comes to Magic on Mondays in hopes of getting
Being on
video.
cam.
Yeah. So we get an Inquisition for Jeremy here. We have a Blood Crypt, Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt, Death Shadow, Fatal Push, and Dismember.
It seems like a pretty good hand in the mirror. You have a way to deal with Death Shadow. You have a way to deal with Kermag Anglers.
Yeah, if I'm Jeremy, I take the Snapcaster if I have a Fatal Push. I'll take the Death Shadow if I don't have a removal spell.
Jeremy's still thinking of what to take here.
That's kind of a hard choice.
Yeah, natural inclination is to take the Snapcaster because that is the 2-for-1 in the hand right now. But yeah, if you can't answer Death Shadow, you can be in a lot of trouble really quickly.
Oh, interesting. We get a Dismember.
Okay.
So maybe Jeremy is going to play Delve Threat here. And there is going to be the option of Snap Dismember.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you have to play... Alec is going to have cards, and you have to play through cards. So
I mean, we could see another maybe hand disruption effect.
it does feel like these are really important choices for in the mirror especially. And a lot of times in like the Jund mirrors or the Rock versus Jund, you'll side out a lot of your hand disruption spells. But in these Death Shadow mirrors, it's really important because the decks are so threat light to keep in those to tag Stubborn Denials or threats.
Yes, because more than likely Grixis Shadow is going to have cards in hand because of cards like Stubborn Denial and Teamer Battle Rage.
So we got the Snapcaster taken.
Yeah.
So this leads me to believe that Jeremy is on a Delve Threat here. And Alec shocks on a land and passes the turn. Have you kept up with Shadow List lately?
I wouldn't say I've been following it. I play a lot online, and I just got back from the Grand Prix, so I've played against Shadow over the last week quite a bit.
Are they off of Tasigur entirely?
I was gonna comment on that most people are not playing Tasigur anymore. I think yeah, it's just the anglers.
That kind of makes sense because usually you're not going to be activating the ability, and if you are at that point in the game, it's going to probably give you back some Inquisitions and stuff.
Yeah, and it doesn't trade with other anglers.
All right, there is our angler, and we have a mana left up to potentially fetch and get a Stubborn Denial. We don't know that Jeremy has that in hand, but they are definitely representing that.
Yeah. Alec at 12. If he does take a hit off of the angler and survives,
Death Shadow gets pretty big.
yes.
And looks like that's what's going to happen.
Death Shadow is going to be a 6/6 coming down.
And we get a Death Shadow for Jeremy, which is a 3/3.
Which I assume that there's probably a Stubborn Denial at this point if Jeremy's going to run it out that
Huh.
way.
Interesting. And Jeremy's going to fetch, go to 9, and Shadow's going to live through that lightning bolt.
I think Alec getting a little hasty there.
Yeah, you get excited because you're like, oh, Death Shadow's a 3/3, and yeah, it's just one of those decisions that's easy to fire off, but can backfire. And it looks like Jeremy is just going to take the 1. So start off with the Serum Vision, hopefully. I mean, even just a Dismember isn't going to necessarily do it here, because then you have to deal with the Shadow as well.
Well, we do know he has a Shadow of his own, which at this point can block.
It's true. Jeremy hasn't played a single removal spell yet, though, so...
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright.
Speaking of a mirror...
A very similar board state.
I think we're just off by a Steam Vents. So you get a push and a lightning bolt left in the graveyard for potential Snapcaster shenanigans in the future, and passing it back. Oh, has a Dismember in the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
My bad. We get a shock to 7.
And being in Alec's position, you kind of just make your opponent have it.
And what would it be right now? A lightning
Probably a
bolt?
Battle Rage. A bolt could also work
Yeah.
too, right?
Love the bolt myself line. Something you don't hear that often.
No.
Ooh. All
It
right.
looked like Jeremy had a pretty threat-dense hand.
Yeah, just not a lot of removal. Had just a lightning bolt, which was used as a
On
pump
himself,
spell.
yeah. Jeremy did play this deck a couple weeks ago and never saw a single Grixis Death Shadow, so maybe...
Yeah,
maybe,
yep,
Death
we
Shadow, yeah.
had Jeremy over to Portland Paper, a little tiny invitational event we did to test out the new London Mulligan rule, and played a couple rounds and didn't see a single Death Shadow.
Yeah. You could actually watch the video. I believe it's still on the Twitch channel.
Also, yeah, we have a YouTube channel. Just look up Portland Paper. We have most of our videos there, edited down to the matchup. You can search them. They're hanging out, and yeah, it's kind of cool. We recently hit the metric of getting affiliate for Twitch. So if you feel like it, you can subscribe to us. The more subscribers we get, the more special events we'll do. I try to do some fun little tournaments on the weekends, maybe some larger cash events here as well, and you get a cool emote that our producer Ian designed. So sideboarding for this matchup, I imagine you're maybe taking out bolts. I'm unsure of that, but you're probably bringing in grindy cards if you have them, like any of the planeswalkers, additional counter spells, I'm sure there's some amount of Dispel in the graveyard. I could see shaving on also Street Wraith as well, because you're going to be playing a longer game, not necessarily trying to be explosive. And I could see also an argument for taking out Battle Rage is you don't want to potentially 2-for-1 yourself, and it would be sort of a win more if you're in a position where you know your opponent can't interact with it. What's your takes for sideboard
Well,
strategy?
I'm wondering, what about surgical extraction?
Yeah, so I feel like this is one of the matchups where I am okay. I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm okay bringing in surgical because
Right.
you're playing such threat light decks. You have your anglers, you have your death shadows, and you have snapcasters plus maybe some planeswalkers. And so if you can, both decks are playing Thought Scour. If you can tag a threat from your opponent, that can, like, them not drawing another one of those cards can matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It is like surgical extraction is a form of card disadvantage, but like like you said, if there's not many threats in the deck, how will the deck win?
Yeah, there's not they're taking threats out of their deck, and they're also thought scouring yourself. So you're potentially putting random cards in the graveyard that you'll be able to hit. You don't have to count on countering something or killing something first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Especially if you're taking out Street Race maybe for that. But so I'm not going to go on my surgical rant here. If Okay, we get a Street Wraith for Alec, cycling, drawing
Looks like Alec
cards.
has a very threat-dense hand. See, at least 2 Death Shadows. Oh, there's
Three Death Shadows, an Angler, and another fetch land. And a Snapcaster. Wow. So yeah, that is going to be Alec will go down to 15 and then 12 the next turn, and could potentially play 2 tiny Death Shadows.
The nightmare here, though, would be if Jeremy brought in the surgical extraction Inquisitions this turn.
Yes, I would love to see that.
That would be a nightmare situation for Alec.
Okay, that's nothing against Alec, but I'd be kind of excited to see that play right now.
Alright, I got part 1 of potentially the best play of the year. Alec expressing that he hopes that Jeremy doesn't have the surgical.
Huh.
No action, but hard to say no to 3 shadows.
So it feels like Jeremy does not have the surgical.
Yeah. If you're thinking this long about it, I'd be so excited. Well, maybe Alec has the stubborn denial. Wait,
Nope,
no, he
nope,
doesn't.
nope.
Because you can see his head.
Okay, there goes the Snapcaster.
Alright. So it looks like Alec is in the clear, sort of.
Yeah, I'm just going all in here.
Yeah. Playing both of your.
I'm playing my 1/1s. Probably one of the more threatening 1/1s in Magic. Champion of the Parish also can be kind of scary.
Champion of Parish.
If we're talking about modern.
In certain matchups, Auric Champion. It's not a card that I want to see across from you.
Mother of Ruins maybe
Mother Ruins.
number 1. Okay, so Jeremy fetches, shocks, Street Race, and then plays 2 shadows.
Jeremy thinking about it real hard right now, though.
It's a pretty fun mirror to watch. I like this.
You have to be able to really balance your life total, and also assess the situation. Yeah, with your hand, stubborn denials, removal spells.
pretty highly interactive. It's not just ships passing in the night trying to do the thing faster.
Mhm.
Feels almost like playing like Delver Mirrors and Legacy, where it's just getting a threat to resolve and then hoping to ride that to victory. So Belful Strix, do you think that's gonna get in the new modern supplemental?
I think it is possible. I don't think it's too strong.
I have a list of cards that I'm like, I'm gonna regret not buying these.
Well, you just called the next play out, so we got a Death Shadow
Whew.
literal mirror right now.
Oh, uh-oh. We have a fetch land for Alec, though.
But maybe Jeremy has 2 street rates in hand.
Whew. Yeah, I mean, I think you attack here.
Yeah, it's very uncommon for the Death Shadow
But
player to not
also,
street
then
rate.
if you attack and Jeremy takes damage, Jeremy's shadows are going to grow, so maybe not.
Yeah, the math on these are always confusing.
Or then do you fetch and shock now, or do you just say, okay,
because if you
take
block,
2.
if you do block one of them, right?
No, damage is all going to happen at the same time.
But if one of the shadow blocks one of the shadows, damage will come through and the
Yes.
shadows will trade one of.
So if a shadow blocks a shadow, and one shadow gets through, Jeremy would take 1, go to 11, and yeah, the damage is all going to happen at the same time. So the shadow doesn't get bigger and then deal 2 damage to the other shadow.
This is why I don't play shadow. I don't know the shadow.
Oh.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for Alec right now.
Play no shadow.
It gets interesting with trample, but I feel like we're in an echo chamber here. Shadow, 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 shadow.
Jeremy's shadow currently at 9-9. I don't think there's.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what maybe. I'm trying to think of what cards would.
Well,
we get there.
Teamer Battle Rage does it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Battle Rage would have done it.
Yeah, Teamer Battle Rage would have done it because would have done 4 to Shadow, 5 to the Angler, and then 9 to Alec. Oh, maybe I can play Shadow. I can do the math.
All right, we get a game number 3.
You wanna be on the player,
I'm
they're,
curious what the players decided to sideboard out.
opponent last round.
Looks like I'm
on the
not
draw.
really seeing baubles in Alec's deck, but I
Yeah.
did see a Nihil Spellbomb hanging out there.
I think he
Or
got
multiple
that game.
Nihil Spellbombs.
Yeah, I think I see 2 at least.
I mean, he was on
And
the
Alec
games too, huh?
decided to be on the
Oh, no,
play,
there was a
right?
bauble in the deck.
I mowed that
And
game,
yeah, yep,
so-
both players just being on the play when they're able to.
But hey, being up cards can be important.
Or you win on turn 2. Could happen.
Yeah, we didn't really see too many sideboard cards in that game.
Oh, does anyone in chat have any cards that they would either be excited about coming in through this new modern set, or that think are going to be some called shots?
I'll keep
And looks like everyone's keeping a hand of 7 cards here. Jeremy's on the play.
What about Rashad and Part?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering.
I don't think. Well, okay. Wizards doesn't like annoying land stuff. I feel like it's fine, but I feel like they don't want people to not. They want people to have a good time playing Magic, and that's a card that prevents people from having fun.
Okay.
But I think it would be fine. That was me more just being like, Wizards wouldn't do that, not it would be unfair. So. What do you think?
We could also have Tabernacle. That would,
Yeah.
I think, blow people's brains.
It's a really frustrating card. It got a little bit less frustrating with some recent rule changes, but
Okay, Thoughtseize.
Death Shadow K command, Bobble, Snapcaster, Fatal Push, and I think Inquisition. Plus a Scalding Tarn. So land light hand, gonna get at least another draw with the Bobble, unless Jeremy takes that, I would be surprised.
I'm guessing Jeremy going so low probably has a Death Shadow in hand right now. So I'm thinking he's wondering if he should take the Fatal Push or the Snapcaster.
The games usually go long here. I'm probably tempted to take a Snapcaster.
Yeah, I think the discipline here would be to take the Snapcaster. Oh, but one for the Inquisition. Oh, I suppose, yeah. But I still think I would have taken the Snapcaster.
Yeah, it's hard to say not knowing the contents of Jeremy's hand, but yeah, Snapcaster is always like the kind of level 0 choice. But Alec was light on land, so maybe Jeremy's thinking he can develop some board presence before Alec is going to be able to really utilize Snapcaster to cast an additional spell. And Alec did the scry with the Mishra's Bobble, decided they did not like what was on top, and fetched away.
Pass turn and draw on your upkeep.
Yeah, I think looking for that land.
And I found it. I think we got a Watery Grave.
I think it was a Bobble, actually.
Oh, it's a Bobble? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. You have sharp eyes.
I mean, we were both glasses wearers.
It's true, you're closer to Alec's side on the video screen.
Yeah.
Alright, land pass for Jeremy. Uh-oh. So there's nothing Alec can do to affect the top of their deck, so just gonna bobble Jeremy and see
Yeah.
what's hanging out on top.
Pass turn.
How much lands does the Shadow deck play?
I think they're on 19.
Yeah.
But you would have gone on a street raid.
I feel like it's pretty common for Shadow players to get stuck on 1-2 lands.
Yeah, most of the deck can function pretty well on 2.
Yeah.
They kind of top out with the Snapcaster on 3, usually. Post sideboard, there are some, K commands and Liliana's as well.
I think Alec found the Blood Crypts
On my land drops.
off the Bobble draw.
Alright. And yeah, hang out with 2 snaps, I think. So we're gonna get a fetch for Jeremy. Containment Priest. Too strong for modern.
Containment Priest.
I think it would be a sweet card for modern sideboards, especially with all the graveyard shenanigans. But someone did point out the interaction it has with Eldrazi Displacer,
Oh.
and that seems like a pretty good combo.
Yeah. I think it might be too strong. The fact that it's a 2-mana flash creature.
Yeah. We're living in a world where people are putting in 2 or 3 Phoenixes on turn 2.
That's true.
Okay, we got a shock for Alec. And we're gonna have a removal spell here. Nope.
Only thing that deals with Angler very well is a Dismember.
Which member?
That member.
Holy man. Take it. Done.
Right, Alec at 10 is gonna open up these Death Shadows.
Does that telegraph that Jeremy may have a removal spell?
Ow, we get an Ambush Viper. Yes, it works as a blocker. And sometimes if the battle rages are out, that Chump Blocker can really change the matchup.
Shadow.
Yep. All right.
It's got a 3/3 shadow and a 2/1.
There's something flavorful about, you know, you have the angler that's like this zombie fish in the water, and then you're pushing like creatures into the water to then maybe be eaten. And whoa, that was a quick one.
That was a quick one. I think Jeremy went down to 3 to cast that Dismember, so it's like.
Well, that's a match here.
Yeah, it was a fun match
pretty
to
quick.
watch, yeah.
That was 3 games in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
But we have 18 minutes left, so we're gonna head out and yeah, try to get as much magic as possible here for you all, and we will get another match on the table here.